People ask me all the time, why haven't you ever had Hillary or Bill Clinton on? Why didn't you have Kamala on during the last campaign? You think we don't ask? We ask these people every week. They say no. It took 8 years and a petition to get Obama on. And these are people, all people I voted for. Think about that. They're afraid to come on the show of a guy who voted for them. They're definitely afraid of their kids, who from time immemorial have always come up with bad ideas. Their kids, thinking up stupid what they do. But parents used to tell them, that's ridiculous. The world doesn't work that way. Not today's parents. They say, you're right, honey. Gender is just a social construct. Please, sometimes your mother and I forget which one of us has the dick.
Bill Maher is still unleashing truth. Bombs on the DNC. And honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if he bolts from the left before this year is out. On his latest episode, Maher lit them up with a takedown that was both hilarious and absolutely brutal. He torched the DNC as gutless cowards with zero direction. A clique of smug elitists spewing anti-common sense nonsense so bad it makes even the clueless cringe. If you live for scorching political commentary, smash that subscribe button and stick around.
Let's need to get their together because we need two parties in this country, and we desperately need the one that still concedes elections, doesn't sell the office, and doesn't want to completely switch out democratic rule of law for a rubber-stamped autocracy. But that party is so right now, and nothing to me symbolized that more than this video. Why do I say that? Well, let me put it this way. I don't know for a fact that this couple are Democrats. I just know it's true.
Bill Maher isn't holding back. He flat out admits the DNC is a total mess right now, stumbling around with zero clear direction, and is right. Who's actually leading this party today? Some say it's AOC waving the progressive flag. Others claim it's Bernie Sanders, still clinging to the revolution banner. A few bold voices insist it's Harris, though her approval ratings say otherwise. And then there are the hopeful dreamers betting it all on Gavin Newsom, California's slick governor, who's more worried about his hair gel than fixing the chaos. But here's the burning question. Who's actually uniting them under common cause? The answer, according to Maher, is painfully obvious. Absolutely no one. That's why the party looks like a car with 4 drivers fighting over the wheel. And now Maher is about to explain exactly why this so-called leadership vacuum is eating the Democrats alive.
The man is at a Coldplay concert. And while Republicans could like Coldplay, they don't, but they could. It's unlikely that this guy is a Christian conservative because he was having an affair with a woman. No, I knew they were Democrats for the same reason I knew this was a Democrat. You can't hide from the kiss cam, and you can't hide in the Oval Office.
Maher doesn't sugarcoat it. He says the reason the DNC looks so utterly confused is simple. They're terrified. Think of that awkward couple caught on the kiss cam at a Coldplay concert. The second the camera zooms in, panic sets in. They scramble, ducking for cover, desperate to hide their little secret from the glaring spotlight. That's the Democrats. Right now, exposed, jittery, and terrified of owning their own mess. Maher drives the point home with Gretchen Whitmer, who once literally ducked behind a stack of files in the Oval Office, hoping no one would notice her. It's the perfect metaphor for a party that would rather hide in the shadows than step up and lead. Instead of boldness, we get cowardice. Instead of vision, we get duck and cover politics. And Maher's making it clear the DNC can't win hearts when they are too busy running for cover.
Am I saying that only Democrats run and hide? But Democrats seem to be afraid of everything. They were petrified of COVID, masking 2-year-olds who never would have died from it and keeping schools closed for far too long.
The DNC-led government had America's schools locked down for nearly a year during COVID, crippling education, and leaving kids isolated. And for what? Study after study showed children were among the least at risk. But that didn't stop the Democrats from doubling down with fear tactics, pushing unnecessary vaccine mandates, and forcing compliance on families who didn't want it. They claimed it was about safety, but really it was about control because they were deathly afraid of the virus, and even more afraid of losing political power. And while ordinary Americans were told to mask up, stay home, and obey, the elites did whatever they pleased. Remember Gavin Newsom, the California governor, caught whining and dining with friends at a fancy restaurant while the rest of the state was shut down. That's the DNC in a nutshell. Hypocrites and cowards preaching sacrifice while breaking their own rules.
Definitely afraid of their kids, who from time immemorial have always come up with bad ideas. Their kids, thinking up stupid what they do. But parents used to tell them, that's ridiculous. The world doesn't work that way. Not today's parents. They say, you're right, honey. Gender is just a social construct. Please, sometimes your mother and I forget which one of us has the dick.
This is hilarious, but it's also painfully true. Try engaging any Democrat in a debate on gender, and you'll swear you're arguing with a child. Their talking points sound like they were lifted straight from a kindergarten classroom, oversimplified, emotional, and completely detached from logic or science. They toss around buzzwords, insist feelings override biology, and when pressed with facts, they either melt down or change the subject entirely. It's the kind of argument that lacks any real substance, but is delivered with such passion you'd think they were defending the cure for cancer. That's what makes it so absurd. Childish logic wrapped in adult conviction, and yet they believe every word of it with their whole heart as if saying it louder makes it true. The result, a party that clings to baloney, while mocking common sense, leaving the rest of us shaking our heads in disbelief.
Still banning TikTok. That was before we changed the rule in America to Trump decides what's a law. But I know it wouldn't even be an issue if parents would sack up and tell their kids to get off the phone. Democrats are still afraid of the mean girls who police their far-out fringe.
True. If there's one thing Democrats fear almost as much as losing elections, it's cancel culture. They live in constant terror. That one wrong word, one unpopular opinion, or even a poorly timed joke will send a Twitter mob after them with pitchforks. And because of that fear, they tiptoe around every issue like they are walking on broken glass. Instead of standing firm on principle, they cave instantly, siding with the loudest and most radical voices on the fringe left, even when deep down they don't actually agree. It's political survival over honesty every single time. You can see it in how quickly they flip positions the moment an activist group starts trending a hashtag. They'd rather bow to the mob than risk being cancelled. And that's why their party looks spineless. Fear has become their compass, and it's leading them straight off a cliff.
Massachusetts Congressman Seth Moulton had a perfect score on LGBTQ issues from the Human Rights Campaign. But when he said, I have 2 little girls, I don't want them getting run over on a playing field by a male or formerly male athlete, his own campaign manager quit. And the chair of the Salem Democratic City Committee, Liz Bratt, accused Moulton of being, quote, what is known as a cooperator in Nazi times. Yeah, I think the word you're looking for, moron, is collaborator. And I'm guessing everything you know about Nazi times comes from TikTok.
Senator Moulton did what so few politicians today have the courage to do. He braved the storm and spoke out against the woke mob's latest crusade, forcing biological men into women's sports. He dared to say what millions of Americans already know as common sense, that letting men compete against women destroys fairness, safety, and the very spirit of competition. But instead of sparking an honest debate, the backlash was instant and vicious. The woke mob descended like a swarm, branding him a bigot, silencing his voice, and ultimately canceling him for refusing to bow to their ideology. That's the world we live in now. Speak truth, get punished. Moulton's stand wasn't hateful. It was principle. Yet in today's Climate, principle takes a backseat to virtue signaling. His cancellation is proof that the left doesn't want discussion, they want compliance. And anyone who resists is swiftly destroyed.
A congressman merely stands up for the liberal principle, the one we used to call, we do still call Title IX, that women get an equal shot in sports, and now it gets you labeled a Nazi. Alyssa Slotkin calls her party weak and woke. She's right. People vote on instinct. They can smell fear a swing state away, and they'd rather have strong and wrong.
Strong leaders make strong nations. It's a timeless truth, and it's exactly what America is crying out for right now. We don't need another weak, spineless figurehead hiding behind polls, pandering to the loudest voice in the room or bending the knee to fringe activists just to stay politically correct. That kind of cowardice has dragged this country into chaos, leaving everyday Americans frustrated, divided, and desperate for someone who actually has a backbone. A true leader doesn't chase applause. They set a vision, stand firm when it matters, and put the people above their own political survival. Right now, America doesn't need more empty speeches or stage photo ops. It needs strength. It needs clarity. It needs a leader who won't flinch when the mob screams or the media attacks. Without that kind of resolve, the nation drifts further into weakness, and Americans know
Sex with Stormy Daniels was wrong, but Trump didn't hide from the camera. Quite the opposite. It looks like he said to the photographer, "Widen that out so you can get these tits." He's got his mugshot hanging outside the Oval Office. He's literally got a guy working for him named Big Balls. It's like if Gavin Newsom had a henchman named Perfect Hair.
Unlike the Democrats, Donald Trump isn't afraid to own up to his mistakes. And that's exactly why more than half the country respects him. People see through the fake polish of career politicians who dodge responsibility, spin narratives, and blame everyone else when things go wrong. Trump, on the other hand, has built his image on being unapologetically real. He'll admit when something didn't go as planned, then double down with the determination to fix it. That raw honesty resonates with Americans who are tired of being lied to by weak leaders, terrified of offending the latest activist group. Voters want someone brave enough to face criticism, strong enough to weather the storm, and authentic enough to speak from the gut instead of a teleprompter. Trump embodies that, and whether you love him or hate him, one thing is clear. His not playing pretend. And that's why people rally behind him.
Me all the time. Why haven't you ever had Hillary or Bill Clinton on? Why didn't you have Kamala on during the last campaign? You think we don't ask? We ask these people every week. They say no. It took 8 years and a petition to get Obama on. And these are people, all people I voted for. Think about that. They're afraid to come on the show of a guy who voted for them. The Republicans, they show up. And when they do, they take their beating like a man.
This is nothing short of an indictment of Democratic presidents and their handpicked candidates. For decades, they've never once honored Bill Maher with an invitation to the White House, nor have they shown the respect of appearing on his show. They keep him at arm's length despite the fact that Maher has been one of the most prominent voices on the left for years. And yet, here comes Donald Trump, a man has criticized, roasted, and mocked on countless occasions, who becomes the very first to extend that invitation. Think about the irony. The Democrats ignore him, but Trump recognizes the influence and weight Maher carries. That speaks volumes. So when people say Maher is drifting to the right, it's not hard to see why. Actions matter more than words. And the truth is, Trump showed him more respect than the Democratic establishment ever has. And this brings us to the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it, then hit the like button and subscribe to this channel.